Welcome to the Wood Project Inspector Overview. I'm Pete Fisher. I've been with DSA for about 13 years. I've been working the last couple of years with the LA office as a field engineer. This is going to be based on the 2019 edition of the California Building Code. Topics we'll be discussing today are governing standards, applicable DSA 152 items on the inspection card, what's new in the 2019 CBC, what's continuing from the prior code of the 2016 CBC to the 2019 CBC, material requirements, clearances from grade, lateral systems, holes and notches, fasteners and connectors, ventilation requirements, and the differences between the DSA community colleges and the K-12 requirements. Questions and answers will be provided after some of the topics. The next topic is the governing wood standards. The governing standards is the model code is based on the 2018 IBC that's maintained by ICC. The 2019 California Building Code uses the 2018 IBC as the base code and then makes the California amendments to that, and we will be looking at the DSA amendments, the DSA SS and DSA SSCC amendments. California Building Code is Title 24, Part 2, and Part 2, Volume 2 includes Chapter 23 for wood. The next topic is the applicable DSA 152 items. You all should be familiar with the DSA project inspection card, the DSA 152. The following few slides provide a brief overview of the applicable sections and blocks as outlined in DSA procedure PR 1301. These relate to woodwork. For more information, see the list in Appendix A at the end of PR 1301. So for Section 1, related woodwork would be Block 6 for forms. For Section 2, which covers vertical and horizontal framing, we would have Block 11 for wood vertical and Block 14 for wood horizontal. For Section 3, we've got Block 16, which is wood ceilings. We could have joists, soffits, suspended baffles. And Block 18, we could have rated walls, shafts, roofs, floors, ceiling, penetrations, etc., all dealing with rated construction. And Section 4, for finished work and other work, the appendix at the PR 1301 includes miscellaneous items such as operable partitions and casework that could be of wood. The next topic is what's new in the 2019 CBC. So what's new in the 2019 CBC? We have an updated wood standard. We have the 2018 version of the NDS, the National Design Specification, which is the wood design. Included in that is fastener changes due to higher roof wind loads because of the ASCE 7 has revised the wind loading. ASCE 7 is the design loads that are used for buildings. The websites below include the NDS changes. The first web link provides access to AWC training info, which covers changes affecting wood in the 2018 IBC, the ASCE 716, and the 2018 NDS. PDF of presentations, YouTube videos, online classes are all available, but be aware that most of these changes are primarily geared for design professionals and not for project inspectors. The 2018 NDS has added fastener changes because of these higher wind loads in the ASCE 7. We have added withdrawal capacity of stainless steel, ring shank nails, and there's a head pull-through table. Withdrawal capacity of stainless steel nails is much less than a carbon steel nail, so you want to make sure the contractors do not substitute stainless steel nails for carbon steel nails without approval from DSA. There's likely to be additional nails required due to the reduced withdrawal capacity. However, the ring shank nail has a much greater withdrawal capacity than carbon steel nails. Those first two bullets are really addressing the capacity of the nail in the main member as you enter the joist or beam. the last part of the equation is the head pulling through the plywood, and that's the new fastener head pull-through table. It's based on the head diameter and the sheathing thickness for the capacity of the nail pulling through the plywood. Some additional changes in the 2019 CBC. They've updated the standards that are adopted. ANSI 117 is now the 2015 version. ANSI 190.1 is the 2017 version. These both deal with glulam timbers. They've removed the emergency CBC amendments addressing the 2015 Berkeley balcony collapse. Those changes are in the model code now. Structure Magazine has a summary of various wood-related code changes to the 2018 IBC and IEBC. Note that these Structural Magazine summaries do not consider the DSA amendments. Changes in 2303.2 regarding the manufacturing of fire retardant treated wood. They've clarified approved versus not approved methods of producing fire retardant wood, that the manufacturing has to achieve chemical impregnation. It's not approved to use paints, coatings, stains, other surface treatments unless those are approved by a valid ICC or other recognized approval report. For labeling of FRT in 2303.2.4, the FRT lumber and sheathing requires labeling in addition to the usual labeling required for lumber and sheathing for lumber grades. The following changes occurred on the 2304.10 nailing schedule. Item 7 for rafters to ridges, hips, and valleys changed from 3 to 4 nails. Item 17 was deleted. It's the connection of the studs to the top and bottom plates. It had duplicate information as in item 16, so they removed it. For structural panels, item 30 and 31, item 30 changed the 8D option from box to common and added an RS-RS-01 nail. Item 31 added an option for AD deformed and the RS-RS-01 nail. As far as the ring shank nails that were added to the NDS, for the roof sheathing, they have 5 different roof sheathing nails. They range in diameter from an 8D common down to 6D common, and has slightly different lengths and head sizes than a standard 8D nail. They also added a table for ring shank nails used to connect standard framing lumber, equivalent to 16 pennies and things like that. The RS-RS-01 nail is equivalent to a 6D common nail. It's a little longer and has a slightly larger head than a 16 common nail. So the changes in 2304.11 are primarily from moving the requirements from Chapter 6 to Chapter 2304.11. Chapter 6 is the type of construction chapter of the building. There's 5 different types of construction that give you different allowable number of stories of a building, allowable area of the buildings. Ranges from type 1 construction, which is highly fire resistive and non-combustible, to type 5 construction, which is the least, which is wood framing and can be non-combustible, non-rated. It's combustible and non-rated. The type 4 is a step up slightly from a type 5 building in that it's wood that are all heavy sizes that in their own size, it acts like a rated building. The large sizes will tend to char on the outside in a fire, providing a little bit of insulation to the underwood, and that buys a little bit of time before a collapse. These type 4 buildings are very rare. You probably will never see one. But the provisions for all the member sizes to qualify for this type 4 construction used to all be in Chapter 6 of the code, and it's all been moved to 2304.11. We have some additional changes in 2304 and 2304.12.1.4. and 12.2.5. In 12.1.4, it clarified that the 6-inch curb is 6 inches above both the finished floor and the pavement. The prior language was not real clear on what the intent was on that. 2304.12.2.5, they've removed the balcony provisions, as I've mentioned before, since it's now in the model code. We've also had some minor editorial changes and renumbering of some sections. In 1705A52, there was a code change in the 2019 CBC that required special inspection for truss bracing for trusses greater than a 60-inch height. That language has been changed in the errata to go back to use the 2016 CBC language, which requires temporary and permanent individual truss member restraint bracing for trusses that span greater than or equal to 60 feet. In 1705A54, structural glue lams, it continues to require special inspection for all glue laminated timbers. The only exception is the smaller members that are 5 1/8 by 18 and less than a 32-foot span that are non-custom members. All custom members that are specific for a individual job are considered custom members, and then they all require special inspection. For more information, refer to Bulletin 17-03. Also updated is the reference standard for ANSI 190.1. It's the 2017 version, and it includes a new section reference 13.1 for the marking of glue lam beams.